You give her back to me. You hurt her and I'll hunt you down.
She's sleeping now. Her eyes are closing.
EastEnders, all next week on BBC One. Madness, obsession and the downfall of an empire. BBC One begins a major new series charting the life and times of ancient Rome. It's the one to watch tonight at 9. Right now, over to Nadia at the City Hospital.
Good morning. It's a sunny September morning. It's 10 o'clock. Welcome to City Hospital. We're live from Guy's and St Thomas's. Today, if you ever get car sick, seasick, or even wonder why the room spins when you've had one too many, I bet we'll tell you something you don't know.
Also today, I'll be talking to Nick Knowles. He's planning to fly back to Africa today, just a week after a nasty accident there left him in need of surgery to his shoulder. Let's hope that he doesn't get airsick.
Yeah, good morning. Later we'll be meeting Jessica. Like many teenagers, she kept an embarrassing secret from her parents. But Jessica's secret nearly killed her.
Now, don't try this if you suffer from dizzy spells, but I want everyone else at home to stand up, face your TVs, shut your eyes and start marching on the spot. That includes all my crew here, that includes Matt and Alid and all our crews everywhere else, and of course myself. Now, I know you might feel a bit silly, but it will all become clear. March and march and march and march and march. Come on, boys.
That's it. Good lad.
Up and down, that's it. Now, if you're not facing in the Now, if you're not facing in the same direction as you were when you started, you might have a problem with your inner ear. Now, obviously, this is a very simple test for balance, but later on, we'll be in the lab down there looking at some far more sophisticated ones. More on that later. Over to you, Matt.
Looking forward to that indeed. Now then, if you've been watching the programme for the last few days, you'll have seen Nick Knowles on the road to recovery after flying in from Africa with a badly damaged shoulder. Now then, I think we've got Nick on the line now. Nick, are you there?
I am here, yes. Hello, mate. How are you this morning?
I'm very good indeed. More to the point, how are you feeling? How's everything going?
Yeah, very good. Feeling a lot better this morning. Had a good day yesterday. A lot more energy and feeling a lot better today.
Yeah.
The various drugs that they give me, sort of painkillers and things, are working very well. I can feel the sort of general anaesthetic washing out of my system day by day, and glad that I took the extra couple of days before I flew back to Africa.
Okay, so when are you going back then?
Today, actually. I'm hopping on a plane later today and going back to join the project, and with a bit of luck, we'll be there by tomorrow morning.
Yeah, now obviously you had a hideously painful flight on the way over. How are you feeling about going back there?
Do you know what, I'm quite good. The way that my shoulder's strapped, they did such a good job on the operation that, and with the painkillers and things, I've got that all under control. I've got my DVT stockings to wear to make sure I'm okay on the plane, and I finally managed to conquer my needle phobia and learn to inject myself in the stomach with this sort of blood-thinning agent, which should keep any chance of a DVT away. I have to say, of all the things, that's probably the most difficult thing that I've had to do.
Absolutely. It's going to be boiling hot, I think, over there as well, isn't it, Nick?
It's around 50 degrees C, which is over 125 degrees Fahrenheit where we are. So I'm going to go in there. They're going to give me a few hours to acclimatise in a slightly warmer area where it's up around 100 degrees, and then I go up the extra sort of 300 k's into the bush to get used to the temperature up there. So I'm just out buying a last few thank you presents for the various people who scraped me off the floor when I had my accident. So
okay, and talking of presents, Nick, is it your birthday today?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it is. Yes, I'm going to be a bit busy to be doing anything about it.
Everybody here in the crew are asking how old.
32.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, wow.
Lovely stuff. So Nick, I presume you won't be getting the bumps.
I'm 44 today.
44, okay, and no bumps, obviously, because of the shoulder. Well, Nick, we wish you all the very best. Good luck with the journey and good luck with the rest of the project. Alan!
That's really kind of you, thank you very much, and thank you to everybody who's written in and sent cards and notes and everything. I really appreciate all the interest that's been shown. Thanks.
Lovely stuff. Thanks again, Nick. Okay, Alan, how are you doing this morning?
Yeah, I'm not bad. Did he say 44 or 54? I couldn't quite hear him. 100 degrees. I hope he's packed his speedos anyway. Listen, it was last May when we first met little Sean on City Hospital. Back then, Sean really was tiny, as he'd just been born 3 months too early. But when we were in A&E the other day, we bumped into a much bigger Sean.
Sean has been wheezing heavily since getting a cold at the weekend.
Hi, is this Sean? Hi, my name's Adrian. I'm one of the doctors. Hello. Tell me a bit more detail about what's been going on the last few days.
Saturday morning he woke up with a runny nose. By Saturday evening he was sitting down hot and cold, and through the night he wasn't sleeping, he was tossing and turning, and his breathing was a lot heavier like how it is now, and it passed off. Take your top off.
Dr. Humphrey needs to have a closer look at Sean.
I'm trying to confirm that he's got a viral illness on board. So in his nose I'm looking for snot, which there was plenty of. In his throat, just looking to see whether he's got anything else I'm missing. So if he's got something that's obviously looking like a pussy tonsils, then I'll possibly want to treat him with antibiotics as well.
Examining a grumpy 16-month-old can be a risky business.
Legs between yours so he can't kick me in the goolies or anywhere else. One arm around his waist and around his arms, and one arm around his forehead. I'll take that from you. Well done. Oh, lovely. Good view of that. Oh. He's got something called viral-induced wheeze. Now, he's getting a lot of mucus production and a lot of inflammation in his airways. And that causes the airways to narrow slightly. Now, in you or myself, that makes very little difference because our airways are quite big. But when they're small, that small little narrowing causes their breathing to, they start wheezing. That's about where we're at.
As Sean was a premature baby and ventilated for a short time, Dr. Humphrey books him in for a chest x-ray. But in the meantime, Nurse Ellen is treated to a lovely cup of tea.
Thank you. Right, Bobby, we want you to lie down and look at the sunshine. Look, it's sunny in here as well as out there. There we go. All right. Hello. You'll be as still as a statue now. So, that's it. Let's see if we've got a smiley face. Oh, super! All finished.
The x-ray has shown up something disturbing.
The only concerning point is this area down here, where you just see that triangle there, which is a bit more filled in, a bit more opaque than normal. It's probably to do with just mucus that's blocked off a bit of the lung. It just claps down slightly, but it could be a small patch of infection.
Sean is blissfully unaware of the results of his x-ray.
Try again. Excellent.
Dr. Humphrey decides that it's best to admit him to the Evelina Children's Hospital for the night, in the hope that he responds to his medication.
Doors closing.
I've made a new friend. It didn't look too good there, did it? But obviously Sean's fine now.
He is. He's fine, yeah.
Are you? Yeah, great. How did you feel seeing that? It was pretty serious, wasn't it?
It was, but it wasn't as worrying. I've been through it before with my other daughter, this one. So,
yeah.
and that was more worrying because I'd never been through it before. So it wasn't as bad this time around.
And he had a little bit of a setback. He had a wheezy chest. How's his chest now?
Fine. I mean, it was only a week ago, but it's fine.
And as the doctor says, it's something that will reoccur, or?
It could do, and it might fall out a bit when he's older, but when he gets chest infections, there's a chance that the wheeze could come back and he'd have to have his inhaler again.
Right, because my daughter was born prematurely as well, and they do say that they do suffer with some symptoms. Has that been the case with your daughter as well?
She did, but she's grown out a bit now. She's nearly 3, so hopefully he'll grow out a bit as well.
Well, it looks like the life and soul of the party, don't you? You're going to give us a smile? Do you want to wave? We'll be back at A&E later on. Matt, over to you.
Super stuff. Thanks very much, Alan. Now, someone else who we've met on City Hospital before, only rather more recently. We're talking less than 24 hours ago. This is Roger here, who was in yesterday. Thanks ever so much for letting us join you in surgery.
You're welcome.
To watch an incredible operation. Now, you were under a local anaesthetic for that.
That's
so,
right, yeah.
So how much can you remember of what went on?
I can't remember a lot, actually. I know there was a fair bit of pain, but...
Right.
And I can remember people around me, like Nadia and yourself, and questions being answered, but, you know...
We've got a little bit of the operation here. I'll just flick that on the camera, look, and you can see what's going on there. Look, that's what they were doing inside your in your heart, and your valves and all sorts. What's your reaction to that then?
Well, it's just marvellous what they can do nowadays. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And basically, there was little tubes that were put in, I think, and then inflated and let down.
Little balloons and...
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
So
you can feel them going in.
Can you? Right.
Yeah.
And is it just like a little slight discomfort there, or is it you actually feel a bit of pain?
A fair bit of pain there, yeah.
Okay.
But they know what they were doing, so,
yeah.
You know.
I can't believe how well you look this morning.
I feel great.
You do, it's amazing.
Great, yeah.
We've had a little walk down there. How does it feel, sort of wheezy-wise or anything?
Not too bad at all.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Super.
not too bad at all, yeah.
Well,
great.
What I'll do, right, I'll let you carry on walking, I know you're enjoying yourself, so I'll see you later. We're off to go and see Marion through here, so let's just nip into this little room here for a very exciting chat with a lady who, believe it or not, is a hen whisperer. Very good morning,
Good
Marion.
morning.
How are you
Good
feeling
morning.
this morning?
I'm all right, thank you, yes.
Now, I've just mentioned to everybody at home that you're a hen whisperer. How did this start, and tell me all about it? Sounds very exciting.
I'll tell you what happened. I'm actually training to become a bachelor practitioner for animals.
Okay.
I already treat people. And we're staying with a friend halfway through my training who claimed his hens had stopped laying. So we said, well, let's try a flower remedy on some bread.
Right, just like flowers, as in like things you take with it? Yeah, okay.
Just batch flower remedies, and we gave all the hens some crumbs. And I thought, well, it might take a while, it might not happen straight away.
Yeah.
Next day they started laying again. And by the time I'd left a couple of days later, they couldn't stop.
Really?
They couldn't stop. They all got better, yes. They all started laying again.
How about that? Absolutely fantastic. Now, hypnotism as well is something else that you're into.
Well, I've been using hypnotism waiting for this heart thing I'm having.
Okay.
A friend of mine made me a CD disc, and I just listened to it, and it sort of helps you calm down and get ready for the...
It's an incredible thing, isn't it, hypnotism? Where you just
It
get your
is,
mind in the right frame of mind and what have you. And now there's quite a few people, I think, that are actually quite sceptical about hypnotherapy, whether it works or not. But we have got proof, Marion, okay? Nick was one of our cameramen, and he was filming a session with a hospital hypnotherapist, and this is what happened. Have a look.
Right.
Just begin to let go of all the stresses and strains of the day of your journey to London and you're waiting to see me. You reconstruct your learning, your understanding of normal function.
There he goes. Our cameraman was hypnotised whilst filming that item. Dave, 3, 2, 1, you're back in the room. Here we go, lovely stuff. All right then. Well, it's amazing how it works. And if it's working for you, then great. And it's just preparing you already for your operation.
Yep.
Lovely. So how are you feeling
so
for
it?
it?
Should go smoothly, apparently,
Good stuff. It was meant to happen a few days ago, wasn't it? It got cancelled.
It was, but maybe tomorrow or the next day.
So you're keeping your chin up in here, though?
Yes.
Lovely stuff. Well, Marion, thanks ever so much for joining us, and lots of love to the chickens as well.
Thank you.
Still to come on City Hospital, we'll meet the 14-year-old girl who was fighting for her life just 24 hours after her first slumber party.
And why supermarkets are the worst place to be if you've got an ear infection.
Now, come on, guys, come in here with me. You all right with your lights and everything? In we go to meet Carmen, okay? Hi, Carmen, Nina. How are you doing? Now, Carmen, you're here for a whole series of tests, aren't you, today? Because you've been suffering from dizziness.
Yeah.
But boy, big time. It was started about 18 months ago, didn't it?
Yeah, March last year I started. One day, I was going to work and I just realized I couldn't go out of bed because I fall. And the whole room was kind of spinning around and I wasn't able to manage, so I came back to bed and just called a friend.
Out of the blue, there'd been no warning or anything?
I may have had some kind of slight symptom that I didn't relate to anything, but I don't remember any kind of warning, really.
Very frightening. Yeah. Okay, well, as I say, you're here for a whole load of tests and we'll be chatting to you throughout the morning. Nina, you need to get on, don't you? So I'll let you carry on behind. And Ronnie, come here. Ronnie here is going to give us a masterclass in balance.
Yes,
did you know that?
Right. Yes.
So what do we do? What do we need to keep our balance?
Well, there's 3 systems that control the balance. One is your vision. The next is called proprioception, which is the sense that you get from the feet. It's a sense from the ground.
Okay.
And the third is the vestibular system, which is in your ears. And that's what we're interested in. That's what we're testing today.
Okay.
I'll just show you over here how the vestibular system works. This is the inner ear. So if you have your ear on the outside, this is the ear canal, the eardrum, the middle ear. Then you go into the inner ear. These 3 canals, this is called the vestibular apparatus. And that's what we're testing today. And it's full of fluid. And when your head moves, the the fluid moves, and that sets off nerve impulses up to the brain.
Okay.
And that controls eye movements, and that's what we're looking at today.
Okay, well, the big change here now. Carmen has a fantastic pair of goggles on. Ronnie, you're going to explain to us what Nina is doing now, aren't you?
Yeah, this is called the caloric test, and what's going to happen is we're going to stimulate the inner ear with warm water. The water goes in, it starts the fluids moving, and then we should see an eye movement here on the screen while Carmen's feeling
so is there water in there now?
Okay. No, there's not. Nina's just about to put that in now.
Are you able to do that now, Nina?
Yes.
Okay. So basically you're inducing dizziness.
We're inducing the dizziness because the water changes the temperature in the inner ear.
Okay.
That starts the fluid moving, and it makes Carmen feel as if she's spinning.
How do you feel now, Carmen?
So far, fine.
You've had this test before, haven't you? And it was, how was it?
It makes you feel really dizzy, sorry, it was painful.
Yeah. You okay?
Yeah, now it's okay.
Okay. So the water's going in now.
The water's going in now.
And when will we be able to see something?
The water will go in for 30 seconds.
Okay.
And then about 5 seconds after that, we should see the eyes start flicking from side to side. Which is a characteristic movement called nystagmus. And that's what you usually see during
Are
the
you okay
test.
now, Carmen?
I'm starting to kind of things moving around really a bit, yeah.
Really? So what's going on now on the screen? What are we seeing?
Well, this is just an image of her eye. So as soon as we cover the other eye, we're removing the vision, so she won't be able to fixate. Then you should see the eye start moving from side to side.
You look like I'm
Sophie. You can start giving me girls' names, beginning with the letter A, please.
Yeah, there it is.
Amy.
Yeah.
Amanda.
There, so you can see it's flicking to the left. Can you see that?
Yes.
So it's going from the centre to the left very quickly.
Okay.
That's the vestibular ocular reflex that we're looking at. And by measuring the speed of that movement, we can determine how well the balance organ's actually functioning.
Okay. And I have to say, she's looking a little unwell. It's not a nice feeling, is it?
Well, it's the same as, it's a mild spinning sensation, maybe if you've been drunk before and you lie in bed.
Poor thing. Okay, so what are we going to be doing next? We're going to be back with you for more tests?
Yeah, you're going to come back and we're going to see another test called the OKN.
And that's for the eyes?
That's, yeah, looking at the eyes.
Okay. All right, guys, we'll be back in a few minutes. For now, over to Matt.
Thanks very much, Nadia. Now, Billy Lowe loved football. He watched it, he played it, and he taught it to children. But then a nasty accident on a motor scooter changed everything.
Well, my accident was on an early Monday morning. I was just sort of going down to visit, coming into London, visit my parents, and basically it was just a collision with a car. I was on a motorbike, a scooter, and obviously a scooter against a car is not, you're not really got much chance, so hit it, and that's what sort of gave me injury. There was a lot of people around at the time. It was sort of just after the sort of rush hour. I remember that quite vividly. I was in a lot of distress, quite a lot of pain.
Billy was brought to St Thomas's suffering from a fracture in his back and a badly crushed foot. For 8 hours, doctors fought to save his leg.
Everything seemed to be quite positive with regards to the blood flow to the foot and all that. But then things started to sort of turn, and everything then started to sort of, the doctors tended to be a little bit less hopeful.
After 8 weeks, persistent infections in his foot were threatening Billy's life. The only option was amputation. A terrible blow for a young man whose life had centred around teaching football.
Once the amputation was done, obviously the first couple of days, you know, you're in a bit of into a negative sort of sense, you know, and it's very, very hard. It's very, very hard to accept. You tend to get the why me sort of thing. But after that couple of days of having the amputation, things sort of tended to, hey, come on, let's really go for it, you know.
In a few days' time, Billy will be fitted with an artificial leg. But first, he must learn to walk using an inflatable device called a PAMAID, which will help him prepare for his new limb.
When they get a prosthesis, it's quite hard and tough on the stump, so we need to make sure that the patient can tolerate it, and psychologically it gives the patients a boost when they're up and standing and walking. Is that feeling all right?
Yeah, feels fine, yeah.
Okay. We'll go for a little walk now, so I want you to step with the right first and then the left. And then weight right over onto the right-hand side and then step with the left foot.
With the help of the physios and the nurses and everyone that's been around, it really has been a sort of, hey, let's, it's been a sort of a gung-ho sort of thing, that's it, this is what's happened and let's really go for it.
Okay, that's looking great. All the wound is still intact, we're not getting redness in the wrong areas. There's no oozing at all, so we'll probably leave it for today and get you back in and do a bit more.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah, it's good.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, Billy gets his new leg. Although he's come a long way since his amputation, he's still in the early stages of his recovery. He should find out in the next few days what quality of life lies ahead for him.
So excited for it, because it's going to be really the start, I suppose, of the rest of my life.
My gel's just fallen off. Later we'll see the moment when, after months in a wheelchair, Billy tries to take his first steps. And as you'll see, it's a very emotional moment. Let's go and see Sheridan. I'm back in the children's department of A&E. Good morning to you all.
Hello.
How are you? How are you? You've hurt your head. How old are you? 7. I like your shirt. Very nice England shirt there. Who's your favourite player? Wayne Rooney. Oh, don't tell me you're a Manchester United fan as well. It was going so well as well. What's the problem? She's obviously hit her head.
She swapped bikes with her friends, and the bike was a lot too large for her. And as she was riding along, she's come off the bike and into a metal pole, and it's like a cube style, and it hit right in the front of her head, and it come open and knocked her teeth. And we took her to the local hospital, but unfortunately she wouldn't let them numb it. So they tried 3 times. They did inject it twice, but it wasn't going in fully or something, so they tried again, but she wasn't having none of it, so they referred us here, so we're here to them this morning.
What do you do in that sort of situation, if a child won't let you numb the cut?
I mean, children are always really difficult to deal with, especially at a very young age. You can try giving them sort of oral sort of painkillers.
Right.
Often they find them difficult to swallow, so you give them liquid, like a teaspoon of Nurofen or something, which they can swallow. But luckily, I don't think she... Did you have any stitches? You didn't have any stitches, thank God. Okay. Often, if they don't need stitches, okay, you can just put some strips across it, and you don't really need to worry about numbing it too much.
But this sort of injury must be so common.
Yeah, it is. I mean, kids are always falling over and, hurting themselves. I mean, often it's difficult to know what to do.
Also, it must be very difficult for a mother, to diagnose an injury like this, because, you're no expert, really.
No, and it was a lot of blood. And
it often looks worse than it is, doesn't it?
Yeah, terribly. Yeah, it was frightening. It was frightening for us.
Are you in pain?
No, you've been really brave, haven't you? Yeah.
You're going to get it seen to today? You're not sure, are you? You're not sure? Let me see your teeth. Have you hurt your teeth as well?
And the front, the top.
Oh, you have, haven't you? You're not going to ride your friend's bike anymore, are you? You're just going to stay riding yours?
And my other friend got his little one for me.
Oh, the other friend's bike's better. I've seen you've got a really snazzy box somewhere. Let me have a look at this. What have you got in here?
Pen.
It's not mine, honestly. No one believes me. What have you got in there?
Pen.
Ah, and is that your drawing? You see, you'll be fine today. You've got all your things with you. Thanks for talking to me this morning. And thank you. I know you're very, very busy. I'll let you get back to what you're doing.
All right.
You had your feet up, I think, didn't you?
No.
Only joking. Nadia, over to you, madame.
Thanks, Alec. Now, I'm just going to check that it's okay to go in and... Is it okay to come in?
Yep.
Yeah. Carmen's having some other tests now. I'll just warn you that it is going to be very dark in here, so you might not be able to see as much, but you will be able to hear us. Come in. Come in, guys. Okay. Hi there. Wow. Hi. What's going on here? Things have changed a lot since I was last here.
Yes, this is called the optokinetic test. And what we're doing here is recreating a large movement in the visual field, because that can sometimes bring on a sense of movement. People at home will have noticed this. If you're sat on a stationary train and the train next to you moves off, that's a movement in the visual field. And sometimes it can make you feel as if you're moving backwards. Yeah, so this is what we're sort of recreating here. Now, if you can look at the screen, The eyes are, again, doing the fast nystagmus movement, and it can bring on a sensation of movement for Carmen as well. And if you have a vestibular problem, sometimes you find it difficult to cope with these sort of stimulus.
Why? Because it would make you feel a bit
Well, because your vestibular system isn't working as well, the brain can't quite put together big movements in the visual field like this.
Okay, so what are the eyes doing now on the screen? It seems to be...
Well, they're just dragging, they're dragging themselves, they're following the squares.
Right.
And then as they get to the edge, as far as they can go, then there's a quick movement back to the centre. And that's a reflex movement. And the first time we were inducing it by stimulating the ears.
Ears, right.
This time we're inducing that same movement by stimulating it with the visual field.
Now, is it right to talk to Carmen?
Yeah.
I have to say, you don't look as poorly as you did a few minutes ago. This is an easier test for you, yeah?
Yeah, it's quite overwhelming anyway, because it's like, it just feels like too much information to take in. I mean, I have to concentrate a lot to be able to do what they told me to do.
Okay.
But it's just looking at the middle, and I find it difficult because, yeah, it's kind of, I have to put a lot of effort there, kind of the same, because it's overwhelming. It's like I'm getting too much information and I can't cope with it.
Wow.
That's a bit how it feels.
Is it making you feel sick as well, or is it just...
Not sick, it's just confused. I just feel like quite confused, like not really able to cope, mainly. I mean, I don't know if I try to walk whether I will be dizzy or not.
Okay.
But yeah, from the brain point of view, that feels overwhelming and confusing, yeah.
Okay.
I think you can stop it now, Nina.
Okay, so I think she'll be very pleased with that. What about, don't people have trouble, some people that suffer with dizziness, do they have problems in supermarkets?
That's right, yeah. When you're walking down a supermarket aisle, it's the same sort of stimulus.
Oh, there goes the lights, lovely.
And if you have this...
Hello. Very nice to meet you. Yeah.
And if you have a vestibular problem, your brain can't cope with that information, and you can feel dizzy. Simply by walking down a supermarket aisle, or on escalators on the underground, that's another common one, going upstairs, all those sort of things.
Okay, well, this is all fascinating stuff. We're going to join you a bit later on.
Okay.
Thanks very much. We're going to see you a bit later, guys. Thank you. Still to come on City Hospital, how a teenager's embarrassment almost led to her death.
And how, if you're of mixed race and you need a bone marrow transplant, you're 20,000 times less likely to get one than if you were white.
And we'll be finding out how to stop the room from spinning if you've ever had a skinful. A skinful? What's one of those?
Now, Jessica wasn't the first teenager to keep things from her mum and dad, but she nearly paid a terrible price for her secrecy.
The worst thing I've ever had to deal with. I was in shock because I'd never heard of it. I didn't know how serious it was. I'm almost close to losing my daughter, which is absolutely unbearable. Nobody should outlive their children. I didn't want to lose my daughter because you've got so much to live for, really.
14-year-old Jessica began feeling sick in the night while she was staying at a friend's house. She wanted to warn other girls about what happened to her, but asked us not to show her whole face.
I just wanted to scream and cry and everything because I was just in so much pain, but I couldn't move. And my mum came to pick me up and that to kind of drag me to the car and get me in.
Once she got home, her condition rapidly became much worse.
I was lying down, and when I went to throw up, I couldn't move, and I was just throwing up all over the place. And my head was just swinging around and bashing against the walls and that. And then it's not until I realised that I was kind of going a bit weird until my brother came in and said, "Oh my God, look at Jess." And then they all came in and they started panicking. They was all talking to me, but to me it felt like they were shouting and they were saying, "Jess, just try and sit up and everything." And I was just really tired and I couldn't do it.
It was almost as if she was on drugs and was completely not aware of anything going on around her. Her eyes were bright red. Her lips were red, her body was hot.
Jessica's parents rushed her to their local hospital where she was diagnosed as suffering from toxic shock syndrome.
We think that in Jessica's case she's contracted this from an infection on a tampon that she was using, and this is well recognised complication of using tampons, but it's become very, very rare with changes in how they are made. We probably see toxic shock maybe 2 or 3 times a year, and it's almost always caused by other things.
Jessica had been suffering from thrush, a yeast infection, but had been too embarrassed to tell anyone. Using a tampon had inadvertently caused the bacteria to pass back into and poison her bloodstream. She was close to death.
What happens is the bacteria produces a toxin that causes a massive inflammatory response in the body. But over quite a short period of time, the child or adult becomes increasingly unwell. Just feeling your pulse. You're still quite warm, aren't you? Untreated, the condition can be fatal. People have certainly died from this type of toxic shock syndrome. So it's very important that it's recognised early and it's treated aggressively. You've got less pain than you did, and comfort, discomfort, yeah.
For 3 frightening days, Jessica was on life support in intensive care.
It was really hard because my family came to see me, and like I could tell they was like in shock and that, because obviously I looked really bad. I didn't look like me. It kind of made me cry because I'm usually like up and about and I'm really loud, and it's kind of bad to not be able to jump up and like hug them and everything.
It's very hard, and it's hard for a bloke to let his children see him tearful. It's really hard. But as soon as she came in the hospital, and once they got the antibiotics and everything set up, that you could see there was an improvement almost immediately, and the improvement was as rapid as the decline. I went from a state of being severely depressed and in shock and tearful to being absolutely delighted.
Jessica's now well enough to move onto a general ward. She wants other girls to know about what happened to her.
Well, it seems incredible that a condition that affects thousands of men as well as women relatively harmlessly could bring someone close to death. But how can that be? I can now ask Dr. John White, who's down in the Accident and Emergency Department. Dr. White, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi, Matt.
Good morning, hi. Let's just talk a little bit about thrush, because it's not a sexually transmitted disease, is it?
No, I mean, thrush is a condition that results from an overgrowth of a yeast that lives in everybody's bodies. It favours places like the mouth and the bowel, but if it gets into the wrong place and overgrows, it certainly can cause symptoms and problems. Toxic shock syndrome itself is not related at all to the thrush organism, which is often known as Candida, but there's an overgrowth of another bacteria, usually one called staph, and the toxin produced by that bacteria is usually what leads to the toxic shock syndrome. But thrush itself causes symptoms that are often mistaken for other things.
So when you said earlier that it lives in everybody's body, is it something that affects men as well as children and women, everybody?
Certainly. I mean, thrush is the infection that can often occur in the mouths of newborn babies, and it's one of the common causes of nappy rash as well. And then thrush also can occur on other parts of the body. It favours those warm, moist areas, so certainly it's a very common condition in women in the vagina where it can overgrow and cause symptoms. But also men can be affected on the head of the penis, and it favours often the skin creases as well.
And just very quickly, Dr. White, how is it easily avoided, or is it not?
It's difficult. I mean, some things increase the risk of it if you have antibiotics, if you're diabetic, if you're pregnant, but anybody who's getting a lot of thrush should go and see their GP to make sure they haven't got an underlying cause for that.
OK, lovely. Thanks ever so much, Dr. White. And Nadia, we can go over to you. How's the dizziness test coming on?
Oh, well, finally, we are going to explain to you at home why I got you marching and closing your eyes while you were looking at the telly. We've got all the crew, we've got everyone here doing it. What was the reason? What were we proving?
Well, when you've got a normal vestibular system and you're marching on the spot with your eyes closed, you should be able...
And just explain again, what's the vestibular system?
In the ears.
In the ears.
So your ears are working well.
Yeah.
You can march on the spot with your eyes closed and you don't turn, because your ears are sending equal signals to your brain and keeping you on the spot. If, however, one side's weaker than the other, then you will turn towards the weaker side. So that's what we were looking at. It's like rowing a boat. If you stop rowing with one oar, you'll turn.
So some of our audience may have diagnosed themselves this morning then.
Yeah, maybe.
Now, you've got this here. What do you need me to do with this?
This is another test that illustrates how the balance system works. So what I want you to do, stand where you are as you are and close your eyes.
Okay.
Okay, you're not falling over. That's
No.
fine. Yeah. Now stand on the cushion.
I'm feeling vulnerable. Yeah, stand on the cushion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Ooh.
Okay. Now what we've done is we've removed the
Wait, can you take my
proprioception.
cards, please? Thank you. Yep.
Now you've closed your eyes as well.
Yep.
You're maintaining your balance through
Right.
the use of your vestibular system through your
Oh.
ears. So that's very good. If you had a problem with your balance system, you would fall over now.
Would I?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it's another test that we do. So
Okay,
well done.
cool.
Good.
Brilliant. Thank you. So on my vestibulars are fine.
It seems fine.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Doctor. Going to go over and chat to Carmen now. Now, you have had a really rough time over the last 18 months with this dizziness. You're a very active person, aren't you?
Yes, I was. I stopped being and now I'm start being again. Okay. Because I'm feeling better the last 3 or 4 months.
When it got, how bad did it get?
I mean, it was bad to the extent that I had to be kind of couple of days off lying in bed every kind of 2 or 3 weeks. So.
Because you literally couldn't stand up?
No, you can't even go out of bed. I mean, it's crawling to the toilet even. You can't even go there.
Now, interesting, you've been given some physiotherapy, haven't you? To help you with your balance. And we've actually got a physiotherapist standing by now for us, I think. Claire, are you there?
I am, yes.
Claire, how can physiotherapy help with balance?
What we do when we assess the patient initially is we find out what's causing the problem. Balance can be impaired by your vestibular system, your inner ear system, your proprioception and general strength. With Carmen's case, she hasn't been seen by one of our physios, but what we would do is we would give her Cawthorne-Cooksey exercises, which are exercises that give her similar head movements which would cause her dizziness. And by doing this in a controlled manner, hopefully the dizziness will resolve with time. The other thing that we also do is you quite often get balance problems with the vestibular system. So we tend to work on balance as well. And here at the hospital here we have a balance group which patients attend as well.
Oh, could that be one Carmen can come to if she fancies?
It is, yes, definitely. If she gets referred through to physio.
What day
it's
is
on
it?
Thursday afternoon.
There you go.
So.
Look, Thursday afternoon for a bit of extra physio.
Okay, we'll give it a go.
Okay. Listen, Max, we are going to pop back with you a bit later on to hear about your results and you guys. Thanks very much. Meanwhile, Matt, over to you.
Thank you very much indeed. Nowadays, there are all sorts of computerised methods of diagnosing and treating heart conditions. But that hasn't always been the case, has it, Dr. Rinaldi? This is all very jazzy and all very new stuff. It obviously helps you as a doctor, but a long time ago, you know, they didn't have
that's right, Matt. I mean, in the olden days, I mean, going back to ancient Greece, they used to put their head against people's chest to actually listen to the heart, and it wasn't until about 1816 when a Frenchman called Laennec actually invented the stethoscope. And the way that they started off was they actually rolled up a piece of paper and listened to a patient's chest with that piece of paper.
And was it successful, or was it?
No, you could hear what was going on with the patient's heart. And after that, then they developed a wooden stethoscope, and that's become then it's become now the stethoscope that we use today, which is a little bit more sophisticated. So we use the stethoscope a lot to listen to people's heart, to try and diagnose problems they have. But then we have some more sophisticated tools which can give us a bit more information.
Just talk us through what we've got here then.
This is an ECG machine. An ECG machine is not a particularly new piece of kit. It's been around for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And what the ECG does is it actually shows us the electrical activation of the heart. So it actually almost shows us a graph of what's actually happening to the heartbeat. And we can actually do an ECG on this chap. As you can see, he's fitted with a few electrodes.
How are you doing, Will? You feeling all right? Good stuff. Oh, you're not allowed to talk, are you? No, we're playing charades here. Thumbs up, things are good? Lovely, right.
All the electrodes are already been positioned, so we'll press this. If this doesn't work, we've got one we prepared earlier, so we can always use that. But we hope now to see the ECG come in from the machine.
Right. And is William allowed to talk as soon as the results come through?
Yes.
Oh, here we go. Oh, wow.
There you go.
So these are very interesting looking lines.
So this is William's ECG. So this basically shows us the electrical activity within William's heart. So if you can see, these spiky bits are each time that the heart is actually beating.
Great.
So it tells us how fast the heart is beating.
OK, well, let's just whiz the clock back a little bit, because one of your students over here, Jan, is doing the old method. Thanks, Will. We'll see you soon. We didn't really get to talk to you very much, but it was great. I had a lovely chat earlier on. He's a cracking lad. Right, OK, Keith. Now, you're here with Dr. Jan. Now, what are you listening for?
Basically for the heart sounds.
and I'm using my stethoscope for that.
Right, and that must be quite a tricky method. Being a student as well, I mean, this is all new to you.
It's very tricky for students. It's even harder than learning ECG or the modern methods, because this you have to, listen to a lot of hearts before you,
Well, just plug your ears in for us and have a little listen to Keith's chest and just tell us if you can hear anything. You watch. I'm not putting any pressure on you here. I know you're really straight. Don't worry. It's a long process, I guess, because you've got to kind of hear a normal area and then find an abnormal area.
Yeah, well, you listen in different places of the chest and then...
You carry on, Jan. Thanks so much indeed. Good luck, Keith. I'm sure it's good fun. OK, now then, as we saw earlier, Billy Lowe lost his leg in a horrific accident. Now, 3 months later, he's determined to get back up and walk out of hospital. Today, Billy and his sister Catherine are on their way to the prosthetics clinic in southeast London. After months in a wheelchair, it's an exhilarating but slightly nerve-wracking journey.
So this is where it all starts today. It's the first day of my future. I'm excited but anxious as well, just to I don't know how I'm going to do with this new limb. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it's all going to go well today.
Physiotherapist Lindsay will be helping Billy to get back on his feet.
Again, easy to bend the knee.
Yeah, and just...
You put in. Seems to go in quite
nicely. You okay?
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. How does it feel?
Feels okay. Feels all right. Yeah.
Does it feel that you're level? Do you feel that
I feel level. Is that all right to try and get the heel down first?
Yes, that's exactly what you want to do. So you're using the muscles
Yeah.
in the front of your thigh to push the knee back. So as you land on your heel, you try to straighten the knee, and that's the muscles that we use.
Such a great feeling. I'm sure many people have felt like this between these bars for the first time.
Yeah.
This has just lifted me so many levels. It feels as though that I've just gone up, you know. When I felt of actually standing up, it felt so at ease. You know, I could let go of the bars. It feels like Christmas Day today, getting that. It really does. It feels like the best present I've ever had. Because now nothing's going to stop me now.
Just 1 month later, and Billy is able to climb stairs again, something he feared would be impossible after losing his leg.
He's done remarkably well, and he's really advancing to becoming an independent mobiliser with his prosthesis. Right, go.
I'm going to be all right with this.
Yeah. It's not just about getting someone back on their feet, doing muscle exercises. They have to be willing, and it's important, it was important for Bill to acknowledge what had happened to him, and he's had a lot of emotions to get through, and he's come through the other side, which has been excellent.
After 4 months at St Thomas's, the day has finally arrived for Billy to go home. But it means having to say goodbye to the medical staff who have helped him through.
A little bit of sadness because losing or leaving everyone now. Sort of good friends, so a little bit of sadness in there as well.
Thanks, my love. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Take care.
All the best.
Thanks very much.
Thanks all. The word thank you just doesn't seem a big enough word, you know. It just doesn't. I mean, you say thank you to people that just open the door for you, you know, and these people have done so much for me. They really have.
In May, Billy was facing the prospect of life in a wheelchair, but now he's determined to pick up exactly where he left off.
I feel as though there's no sort of holding back. I feel as though now that once I get home, I can really, I can just get out this chair. I just really want to just put this wheelchair in a cupboard, you know, just fold it away and just put it away, and really just try and get on with my life, really.
What an amazing guy. Makes you glad to be alive. An uplifting story. Now then, what happens if you mountain climb with shoes that haven't got laces in them?
This happens.
This happens. Tell us what's wrong with you to start with.
Oh, God. My vertebrae number 3, L3, come down. It's titanium.
Right.
Spine broken. One of the ribs broken.
Right.
Wrist broken right here and right here.
Right.
That's it.
What happened? You fell...
Off a castle, 8 meters. Down 8 meters on my back and on my spine.
Can I just ask you, like, probably a really obvious question now, but why didn't you have laces in your shoes?
Oh, that's a question to ask. I think someone stole them.
Right.
I think.
Really?
Probably.
And you've got quite a sort of nasty scar on your back. Do you want to show us?
Oh, yeah.
Look away if you don't like scars, I have to say. Are you in pain with that?
No, my wrist hurts, but the spine's okay. I can't bend or anything like that. Can't run and can't dance or have proper sex.
Where are you from? Because I can tell you're not from Britain.
No, I'm not. My dad's Finnish, my mom's American, and my grandma's Russian, so I was born in Moscow.
Why are you here?
I'm moving in.
You're moving into London?
Yes.
Do you like it here?
I love it.
Hospitals are obviously better here than they are where you are.
I love hospitals, yeah.
You say that
Very
because
accident prone.
You are?
Yeah. My toenail is coming off as well.
I'm quite scared sitting here. Something could happen to me any minute.
No. You're safe.
Uh-huh.
The brig's going to fall on me.
Phew, that's a relief. You say you're accident prone. What, have you got other scars then?
Oh, yeah. There you go.
How did you do that one?
Well, I was ski jumping. And that one is, I was running in the forest, I fell on a bottle. And, and the dog bit me right there.
This is a setup, isn't it? It really is. There's nothing wrong with you, really.
No,
but I don't understand how you can be so happy, because when does this thing come off, by the way?
Well, it should have come off last Monday.
Right. And you are actually going to stay in London now?
Oh, yes.
What do you do, by the way? What's your job?
I'm a singer, mostly. I'm an actress. I'm an IT person, ex-flight attendant, ex-hotel worker, ex-restaurant worker, teacher, musician.
So you've led a sheltered life, really, haven't you?
Yeah.
So what sort of singer are you?
Rock. Mostly.
What sort of things do you sing?
All kinds of things. My own music and covers.
Right. Go on, give us a line or something if you can.
Standing in line to see the show tonight, and there's a light on. Heavy glow.
There you go, you heard it here first. Beautiful. I think you're a fantastic person. You've kept
you.
me entertained all morning, I tell you. Although I am slightly scared, I have to tell you.
No, you say.
Over to you.
I thought we were up for a duo then, Alan. I thought you were going to treat us to that. Go on.
I've got a number for you, Matt, don't worry.
Oh, OK. Super. Now then, the front page of yesterday's papers carried the heartbreaking story of a little boy's appeal for a bone marrow donor to save his life. We'll be talking to his mum in just a few minutes. But first, as we found out last year with the case of Danny White, if you're of mixed race, finding a donor is 20,000 times harder than if you were white. This is Danny's story. At just 35, IT consultant Danny White was given a potential death sentence.
I was not feeling well. I had lost so much weight. Mentally, I was kind of ready for whatever illness it was. Having found out it was leukemia was a shock.
Danny was suffering from blood cancer. His immune system was collapsing. Without a bone marrow transplant, he would die. So far, he's had regular chemotherapy at King's College Hospital, but the cancer keeps coming back.
Hi Danny, how are you? My name is Dr. Gupta, and you have come here for the bone marrow test.
This is my 11th bone marrow aspiration. Simply because of the relapse of leukemia. And prior to the relapse, I had four lots of chemotherapy, so yeah.
A fifth course of chemotherapy may temporarily keep Danny's leukemia at bay, but only a bone marrow transplant will save his life. But because he's mixed race, he's been warned his chances of finding a suitable donor are remote.
Wow. That's what I thought. Wow, what are my chances? For every, in terms of Caucasians, for every 5 that is searched, a match is found. And for a black or a mixed race or Asian, you're talking a good 100,000.
Bring your knees up as high as you can.
Danny has set up a trust to try and establish a bone marrow register in Ghana, where his mother was born.
I think the main area is ignorance. And we need to, as a race, educate ourselves about this illness.
Without any donors coming forward, Danny and hundreds of thousands of others will die.
One's fate rests in the hands of how many registered donors we can have.
Well, Danny is still waiting for a donor, and of course, we wish him all the very best. Now, in a moment, we're going to be talking to Keaton's mum. Now, Keaton is the little boy that I was telling you about a little bit earlier on, and we're going to put some numbers up on the screen, and if you think that you might be able to be a donor or you want some information on it, then please contact those numbers. Now, Keaton's mum, Paris, is busy drumming up support and spreading awareness for her son, and she can join us from Guy's Hospital now. Paris, can you hear me?
Hi, yes I can.
Hi, Paris, for anybody who hasn't actually seen the newspapers, just give us a little bit of background on your son.
Okay, well, at the beginning of 2003, he started to become sick. He'd always been a very well child. It started off with a severely swollen eye, which never really went away properly, and then one morning he woke up and couldn't put any pressure down in his left leg. It progressed to paralysation over the next 3 months, and after many x-rays and tests, we finally got put into hospital, and an MRI scan was done, and they found a huge tumour wrapped around his lower spine and one in his face.
Yeah.
We were rushed to Great Ormond Street, where he was very quickly diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, and we were told it was very unlikely that he'd walk again, but on sheer determination on his part, and the fact that I'm a sports therapist, I physioed him an awful lot, and he's now walking again, so that's good.
And how is Keaton within himself now, then?
Well, he's feeling very ill through the chemo treatment he's having to have again right now, and just very sad and upset that he's sick again, because he had 3 years of treatment to get him over the acute lymphoblastic leukemia, and in the last month of treatment, just 2 months ago, he relapsed with a different type of blood cancer called acute myeloblastic leukemia. It's very rare for this process to happen, and the only way to cure him is through a bone marrow transplant.
Okay, well, we can now cross live to Liz Bishop, who's a haematologist. Liz, why is it so difficult to find a donor?
Well, there are lots of reasons for this, particularly, as you've just heard, in ethnic minorities. If you are from an ethnic minority group, you are of mixed race, the likelihood is that you have a rarer tissue type in the first place. Now, added to that is the fact that we have lower numbers of potential donors coming forward to the anti-Nolan for registering as potential donors.
Okay, lovely. Liz, thanks ever so much for joining us. We will put those numbers up, they'll be up at the end of the screen as well. Paris, thank you very much indeed as well, and obviously we'll keep our fingers crossed for Keaton. It's over to Nadia.
Thank you, Matt. Now, we're back here with Ronnie. We're going to be getting Carmen's results of her tests in a minute.
Yes.
But first of all, can you give us any tips for things like car sickness, seasickness?
Yeah, things like car sickness, seasickness.
That dizziness that you get.
And dizziness when you're drunk.
That was a bit left field.
It varies from person to person. Remember the 3 systems I was talking about, vision, the vestibular system, and proprioception, the information from the feet. Some people are more reliant on one system than the other, so, and it just depends on, it differs from person to person.
So if I'm lying in bed and I'm blind drunk, the room's spinning around, what can I do?
You can put your foot out of the bed and stand up. You can touch the floor with your feet, giving proprioceptive information. Well, it'll make you feel a little bit better, yeah.
Because you're basically getting more, because of your foot, you're getting more information to your brain to tell you that you're all right. Is that how it works?
That's right, yeah, that's correct. With motion sickness, basically what's happening, those people are more visually dependent. So there's the visual field's moving, because obviously you're in a car, but your feet are still. Now, some people can't quite make sense of that. Their brains can't make sense of it, and that's when you get dizzy.
Okay. Okay, brilliant. Lots of tips today. I like tips. Come on now, just very briefly, because I think that we are running out of time. Come on, you've got your tests back now, haven't you? And what's the conclusion, Nina?
The conclusion is that Carmen's vestibular organs are working fine. There's no abnormality recorded there, which is a great result. What we suggest for her is to keep her brain activate by doing some exercise. And I'm going to...
Like the physiotherapy
concoxy exercise. I have also already printed those exercises, and I'm going to explain to her how to perform those exercises. And then I'm going to refer to the physiotherapy.
Well, you've already met her.
By us.
Yeah, I did. Just very quickly, you're off on a holiday, aren't you? So 2 weeks diving.
It's always
in
fun.
Mexico. Is that allowed with funny ears?
Yes.
Thanks ever so much, guys. Alice, over to you.
Hey, thank you very much, Nadia. You may think it's been quite quiet in accident and emergency this morning, but actually there have been over 30 cases since 8 o'clock. 8 major incidents and 2 minor incidents. I'm not sure what's happening in here. Dave, is this a major incident? What have you done?
I wouldn't think it was major.
You're still smiling anyway.
Yeah, I know. It's just a bit of back injury, that's all.
What happened?
While driving the cherry picker, it got caught, the hydraulics pushed me forward and trapped between the steel and the cherry picker.
Are you in pain?
A little bit, but I'm all right.
You sure?
Yeah, yeah.
One thing I noticed is that you've got a mate with you. Come in here, you. He was eating your grapes earlier on, do you know that?
My grapes.
They're not your grapes. He's the injured party. You should be giving him his grapes. We're all smiling in here. Is this a serious incident?
I've actually only just come in to assess the patient, but the fact that he's in minor injuries is not strapped down to the bed, so it would indicate that actually it's not too bad. But as I say, I haven't even had time to assess him properly yet, but we will go ahead and take a full history and roll him over so that we can check his back for any serious damage. But at the moment, I think he should be fine, hopefully.
And do you reckon he'll be able to go home tonight, or will it be...
He should be going home in about a few hours. Yeah,
that's good
with
news.
some painkillers, hopefully.
But that's not back to work, OK? Take the day off. Look after yourself. Thanks to all of you.
All right, thanks, man.
Cheers.
Okay, thank you.
It's everyone's nightmare to wake up halfway through an operation but not be able to tell anyone.
Sometimes people are more afraid of the anaesthetic than they are of the actual surgery. His rate of breathing has gone up and his heart rate has gone up. So all the things that show that he's experiencing some discomfort. So I'm now giving him some more painkillers.
The human body may still react to pain under anaesthetic, but the memory shouldn't record it.
Yeah, can I get some more morphine, please? Another 10 of morphine, please.
That's Out for the Count on City Hospital tomorrow. Now, those numbers are going to be coming up for the Keita appeal. Please, 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 give us a call if you can. He really needs you guys. That's all we've got time for today. We will see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock live, and we'd all love you to join us. Thanks very much. Goodbye.
A Victorian townhouse in Liverpool goes under the hammer. That's here on BBC One next. There's a bargain hunt in London's Islington at past, followed by a daughter's first car, funded from Cash in the Attic at 12:15.
Herbs, I think it's always nice to have...
Right, what's the problem?
Your TV's well dodgy.
Translate that for me.
I can't get BBC on it. It must be broken or something.
I think I know what the problem might be.
Oh, that was hot in there. As I suspected, there's nothing wrong with your telly. You just need to go digital.
Sounds painful.
No, my love. It's a piece of cake, and besides, we need something to keep Aidan there happy. The BBC has 2 digital channels for children. Lots to entertain older children with the CBBC channel, and a whole world of fun and learning on CBeebies. And you can get them either by subscribing to cable or satellite, or making a one-off payment for free satellite or Freeview.
For more information about how to get these channels,
Delicious.
call 08700 10 10 10.
A mid-morning look at the news headlines now on BBC One with Sophie Rayworth.